For my daughter, and I want peace in my family. This has been such a hard 3 months. It's been painful. It's been terrible. I mean, we've been torn apart. One of the leaders of our family, she was the baby, but she was the leader. The holidays are not holidays. I'm just grateful to God.
A lot of details came out in court today for the hearing of Quadajah Johnson, including the fact that this was the first time when the shooting unfolded that she allegedly laid eyes on Romeca Blackmon. We know that she and Romeca Blackmon, they both have children by the same man. And for the very first time, we are hearing from Carlos Smith. He was the man on the scene when this tragic shooting unfolded. So a lot of information came out in court today. Witnesses saying what they saw, but you were there. What's your reaction to what you heard came out in court today?
When I heard it, I'm just looking, it was unbelievable, but I was there. And I know for a fact none of that happened, how they just explained it. But my truth will get out here, and I hope everybody understand. That's really it. I can't even say too much right now. Because it's just gonna feel like I'm going against them, they going against me, we just going back and forth. But the truth is going to come out.
16 right now. Thank you for staying with us. We have Tia Ewing, who is here now. You've been on one of the most watched stories of the week here, the case of Romeca Blackmon, and this goes back several months.
September.
And you have followed it the entire way. So walk us through how we got to today.
So how we got to today is yesterday at 3:25 in the afternoon. I was working on something completely different, got a phone call from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office letting me know these charges were indeed filed, and that Quadajah Johnson, who was the person accused in all of this of shooting Romeca Blackmon, was going to be charged at that moment with first-degree murder, and that she would appear in court today. So fast forward to today is when the actual hearing happened. And we found out a lot of, decent information inside that courtroom. One being that Quadajah Johnson and Romeca Blackmon, we already knew that they shared the same father of their children.
Correct.
So, Quadajah has a child, a very young child, and Romeca Blackmon at the time of her death had a 6-year-old who has now turned 7. He literally turned 7 shortly after his mother was killed. With that being said, we also found out that Quadajah Johnson is indeed pregnant at this moment, 7 weeks pregnant, and her attorneys really tried to drive home that point with the judge in court today for her to be released.
Yeah.
The judge made some pretty straight up statements, one being that when this shooting happened, at one point, the actual alleged shooter, Quadajah Johnson in this case, fist bumped the father that she and Romeca Blackmon have in common with their children, fist bumped him after the shooting. And the judge said, someone like that, basically, I'm essentially gonna, melt down his words into essentially what he said, does not deserve to be out roaming the streets. I think that's a very inflammatory thing to find out from witnesses that happened.
Yeah.
And witnesses, I do want to point out the fact that in this case, you got to give it up to the witnesses here to even get us to this point in this case. Because even in the video that you saw, the aftermath of this shooting, these officers that responded, they responded to a chaotic scene. And many of them look like this may have been the first day on the job. I mean, quite frankly, not really understanding who was the shooter, not really understanding who were the witnesses, people walking through the crime scene. We saw that in the video, and so the witnesses said, hey, that's the shooter. That's the person you need to be arresting. That's the person that you need to look out for. And another thing that came out in court in terms of what witnesses saw and heard, they said after that first shot was fired, there was a pause. Why is that important? Somebody may say, okay, why is that important? That's important because you fire one shot at someone, they're down, you pause, and then you ramp up again and other shots are then fired.
Are they
Why?
saying that's the reason for the premeditated? Obviously, first degree murder would be premeditated.
Right.
Is that so? The second shot, they're saying premeditated because you thought about it to shoot again.
Well, in this case, that was not made officially clear in the courtroom, but that was brought up as, witnesses stepping up and how this case has really unfolded. And because of that, the judge did not feel like Quadajah Johnson, no matter pregnant or not, does not deserve to be out here walking the streets.
And that was one of the big issues. I mean, obviously, the biggest issue is that a life was lost. So let's say that,
Yes.
but that was one of the big issues going back to the day that this happened. Even though the police came and there was an arrest, she was released.
She was released.
Someone had lost their life and she was released.
And that is how we got involved in the story. So the shooting happened September 8th. She's released. I get a call from a friend of the family member that happens to know my family, being in Chicago. And they're like, hey, have you heard about this story? Is this something that you would cover? And I'm like, yes, I've heard about the story. We've all been wondering what's happening in the course of this investigation. And so that is how the connection even happened. So September 8th, the shooting and killing happens. September 23rd, I do the story. And from there after, I'll give it to the people. They really made sure I would get emails constantly because, like you said, it is a case that so many people have questions about. I would get emails constantly saying, is there an update? Is there an update? So every time I got a message, I sent that to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And they would always respond. And they would say, no, this is a ongoing investigation. We're still investigating. And one of the issues that came up in this is that Quadajah Johnson had filed, and I believe the date is June. She filed in June an actual order of protection against Romeca Blackmon, saying that she was indeed the aggressor coming after her, is what she was alleging. We actually found some paperwork. Now, mind you, there could be several different orders of protections, but in this particular case, one of the orders of protection that we definitely can confirm existed was never delivered to Romeca Blackmon. In fact, every time the sheriff's, I believe it was the Sheriff's Department of Cook County, and I'll go back and review this, but a sheriff's department, just to be safe, tried to deliver this. They could never make contact. And in fact, they tried to deliver it after she was passed on.
Okay, so let's the day that the shooting took place, Romeca was going to drop off her son. Is that correct?
She had already dropped off her son.
And was coming out of there.
And was coming out.
And how did they, what caused them to interact?
So here's what's interesting about this. And there's so many different narratives about how this played out. So the father that both of these women share, his home is blocks going south from where, I believe it's south from where their school is located. And I've heard different narratives. If you look at the video, you see Romeca Blackmon's car, and I think I'm correct on this, kind of going back to our original story, in the street. You see Quadajah Johnson's car kind of like behind, I think it was parked on the street or behind her. And so the idea was this a situation where she saw her and hopped out of the car? Was it the reverse? Was she then blocked in? That's the question. That's some of the stuff we don't officially know, because that's all been hearsay. We have, and mind you, I did have witnesses' phone numbers, but I could never get them on the phone to actually say what they saw. So that was all hearsay of why the car was this way. Was it that Romeca jumped out? Was it that Quadajah blocked her in? And whatever happened, there was an altercation. And in court today, that did come out that in fact the father had Blackmon in a chokehold during the course of this dispute that's unfolding on the street.
And how did he get to the location at the time of the dispute?
He lives a couple of streets down.
And he came out?
So that is unknown. Was he riding in the car with Quadajah Johnson? Was he walking down the street? Keep in mind, it's cold now, but it was not cold at the time. Were they waiting for her? I mean, there's a lot of different questions about that we don't officially have those answers to.
But somehow he hopped in the middle.
Somehow he got into the middle of it, puts Romeca Blackmon, who is a very small framed woman, in a chokehold, ends up the other mother of his child ends up shooting her, and they fist bump. My question now is, and this is the email that I sent after learning these details to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, is he going to be charged?
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Is he an accessory? Is he, is he an accomplice in all of this? Because just based on the details you hear in court, it would make you ask the question, well, where's this guy at?
Right.
Is he going to, is there now you have to look at the totality of a case. Is there now an agreement that he's now going to be the key witness to testify against Quadajah Johnson? That's all, up in the air, but definitely worth a lot of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how he ended up there at that time, if he had her in a chokehold, was he holding her for something to happen to her? Or will his excuse be, I was trying to break them up and it just looked like that?
Right.
Or, you don't know how
that'll play out.
You don't.
I do want to go back to something, because this idea of this order of protection has come up, and, during the course of reporting here at 532 and around the country, the questions of an order of protection come up, and people are like, that's just literally a sheet of paper. And in this case, when I spoke to the family of Romeca Blackmon, they were under the impression that order of protection that was filed by Quadajah Johnson was essentially a play, like preparing for what could come next, preparing for the fact that she had threatened her before, and kind of creating this paper trail to make her look like she would be, redeemed in a case of if she did pull the trigger, because she is a concealed carry holder. She has a license to carry a weapon. So that's the family's position on this. I think it's going to be really interesting. The next hearing is December 23rd, I believe is the date. It's going to be really interesting to hear as more details come out.
And is she arguing self-defense?
I don't remember what her argument was officially, but it had been self-defense. So today, I don't know if she entered an official, this is, I'm innocent. I didn't hear that, but she has argued up until this point, because though I never interviewed her, I never interviewed her. I want to make that very clear. I did hear from a relative of Quadajah Johnson, and I gave that relative, I said, listen, this is a platform that believes in fair and being balanced, right? So if Quadajah Johnson feels like, because her name had been run through the mud on social media prior to us ever getting to this point, and she felt like that was wrong. She felt like, why is my name being brought into this, and I haven't been charged, et cetera. And I told the family member, well, listen, we never mentioned her name. That's social media sleuths, and they have the right to go on social media.
And we have nothing to do with that.
And we had nothing to do with that. And I said, we leave this platform open for her to speak. I know at one point she had hired a lawyer, and that the lawyer had told her, do not say anything, let this play out. And so during that communication with the family member, it was very clear to me that she felt like this was self-defense, and that she also felt like she was getting a bad rep, in the social media streets, and that she felt like she was the person that had been threatened by Romeca Blackmon.
So her story
it sounds like it's going to be, she was fighting me.
Yeah, that she hopped out, I was going on about my way. She hops out, comes at me. I am a concealed carry holder, and I had the right to, protect my life.
But here's the question, and this is, the debate that has existed since this has happened. I'm a concealed carry holder. If someone starts hitting me, and we're about the same size, because they're about the same size. They're both pretty petite individuals. At what point is it okay and lawfully, speaking about the law, not what we fabricate in our minds, not what we think, at what point legally is it okay for me to then go grab my gun and shoot you off of a fight?
Yeah, and I guess if you're, and maybe we don't have the exact point at which she retrieved the gun. Was the gun on her when the fight was happening, or did she leave and come back?
That's a good question. And at one point, we do know in the video that the witnesses said, hey, she just put the gun in the car. She just took the gun back to the car, which makes me think, well, I don't know if that meant, she had it on her person. If you're a concealed carry holder, you could, you may have it, stored in your car. You may have it, on your person hidden. So we don't know that part of the story. Again, more details will come from this. But at what point, if the father's out there, and if this is true, the judge said,
the fist bump
and the chokehold, that the dad that they share together had her in a chokehold. What do you need to pull your gun out for?
Yeah. if there's someone who is actively helping you. So today, obviously these, and you mentioned a couple of things. I want to talk about the fact that there were a lot of supporters for both of these women who have shown up in all of this.
Overwhelmingly. Looking at the crowd, Romeca's favorite color apparently was pink, because you saw just about everyone wearing pink. They had to move the courtroom because of the overwhelming response. Not only has the response been overwhelming online, but in reality here in the city of Chicago, this has impacted a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. But I think overwhelmingly Romeca had support, but there was supporters there for Quadajah Johnson. It is a horrible situation.
All around.
If anything we could learn from this is, if the man got you going through this kind of stuff, it's time to let him go. I mean, honestly, if he got you fighting this mother and you both have a child, don't you want your siblings to be brother and sister or brothers or whatever the dynamics are versus this? That child did not deserve to come out of that school just feet away from his mother, being shot in the face, to never see his mother again. That child didn't deserve that. And now Quadajah Johnson has a child in the world with no mother.
Exactly.
And may not have a father. Right? And then a baby in the womb. What happens to that baby? I mean, the whole story, I think, is what has drawn so many people to it, because it just shows like what we learn when you're growing up. You've heard a parent or somebody in your life say, leave that man alone. And it's unfortunate that it's ended with two lives, very young, beautiful women, both of them, lives being completely destroyed because one made what sounds like, listen, allegedly, right? A really stupid, emotional decision. And that's why they tell you often, I have kids, and I tell my kids, I say, every decision you make counts. Every last one of them. And never get caught up in your emotions when you make decisions, because you're high on emotions. I'm gonna get you when I see you, kind of stupid stuff. And now look.
And there's so much to come from this. And again, at the end of the day, there are children involved.
That's the horrible part.
That's the next generation, and there are ripple effects to all of this. So we watched just a piece of when the hearing today ended, and Romeca's family, her mother, and many of the other family members came out of the courtroom. They were smiling. They were happy. They were happy about what happened today.
They didn't
and
believe
where this
me when
is
I
at
called.
this point.
So I called them because I felt like if it were me, and I got a call that a family member of mine died, and I never knew what was happening, because it's one thing, I think, when the media calls to get answers. It seems like things move a little faster versus when an everyday person is calling for the answers. It seems like you're waiting. And so as soon as I got that call, I had one of the family members call the mom, and she initially didn't believe it. She was like, is this real? Because this has been almost 3 months.
They've been waiting for it.
They've been waiting for a while. And so she cried, she processed that, and then she said, when is the court, when is the court date? And so, we'll see how this plays out. I think this is just I think what should happen from this is that if you have a daughter, a young teenage daughter.
What? Honestly, a daughter or a son.
Or son. I was going to get into that too. Young, old, maybe like not quite 30. This is a good time to show them this story. Because believe it or not, it's a lot of people resonate with this story because they've been in it. Right? Or they've seen somebody be foolish in love and things happen and it goes left. And I think that this is a good reminder of, I can't say what I really want to say, but don't let a loser bring you down. Because this is really what it sounds like.
We'll continue to follow it.
Allegedly.
I know you.
You gotta use that word. Don't come suing
Keep
me.
us in the clear. I know that you will continue to follow it. It is honestly very sad on many levels, but we appreciate you staying on top of it. I know a lot of people have found interest in it for many different reasons. So thank you for staying on top of it.
That's our job, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's why we collect that paycheck. So been my pleasure to follow it. So.
All right. Tia Ewing, everybody, and you'll see her at 4, 5, and 9 this evening when she wraps everything up. All right, it's 2:33. We'll be right back.
Carlos had been posting on social media too. Back in late November, he wrote, "This is a terrible situation I have to face, and God knows who is right and wrong in that situation. I know y'all want me to be the bad guy so bad. But that's just not me. But please stop trying to harass me on this app. People, I loved and was there for both of my baby mamas and a very active father. The community and the family weren't interested in his explanations. They wanted accountability. Not just from Quadajah, but from him too.
Oh, there's just a lot of lying going on. I ain't getting into details though, but
right, and that's fair. Like you don't want to get into detail, but I mean,
she did show her face.
yo, you see I'm on this live right now. You'll be so bad right now.
That's what I'm.
Like, because I really want to know the truth too, and I'm asking the truth. Like the people, I just want to know the truth, and you feel like everybody lying on you, but only you know the truth.
No,
So
for a fact, yeah, for sure.
right, so only you can tell your truth. You know.
Yeah, I'll go see.
No, they talking shit to me too.
But
That's pretty big. I'm trying to be nice and ask this man to tell us the truth.
Thanks for not calling me out my name, cussing me out.
No, that's not gonna get us anywhere. Like we're not gonna get any further by being rude and disrespectful. Like just everybody just want to know the truth, genuinely the truth. But that's it. If you can't talk about it, I guess we just not gonna hear about it.
A lot of people know who I am. They know for a fact that shit ain't true. That's all you need to know.
All right, that's fair. Okay.
They ask about me.
Nah. I don't need to ask. I just thought you were gonna like express and just go into detail, but I see you probably, and that's cool too. We just wanted to know the truth to hear your side. I just wanted to hear what you was gonna say.
All right.
All right.
Hey mom, I wanna holler at you.
No, this is my how you change? I don't even know how to get this shit out of here, man. I'll remove that.
It ain't that hard. You showing with it. It's right about.
Man, y'all people so nosy and y'all disrespectful to the motherfucker too.
Trying to fuck. Yeah.
Y'all going crazy like in my DMs and shit.
Yeah, nah, I know you trying to fuck. Come on, baby, show that face.
Man, they going fucking nuts though.
No, somebody gonna do that.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold on. Hello.
I don't like to take no club crazy. I'll be trolling the fuck out there.
That's yeah, I can. Alright, yeah, I can. Alright. Okay, alright. I'm gonna get back on here in a little while, y'all. Yeah, I can.
Pretty big.
Get back on this bitch in a little while. But y'all gotta stop letting them lie on me, man. A lot of y'all know what type of guy I am. Y'all better start taking up for me, man.